Hi everybody, my name is Tawia Matope. Welcome back to my channel. For those who are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell, click that like button so that when I post more videos, you will be notified and you'll be the first person to see the videos that I'm going to be posting on this channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about quite an interesting topic, which is, well, I find it quite interesting for myself because I'm more into a tech kind of person to an extent, but not into gaming and all that kind of stuff, but things to do with technology. I've got a keen eye to read through and try to know what's happening in the world. As you may be aware, we are now living in a day and age of artificial intelligence. So today's topic, I'm going to talk to you about or to answer the question which was sent to my inbox by one of my viewers. Will AI affect my job as a social worker? Will artificial intelligence affect my job as a social worker? I'm going to give my views with regards to whether artificial intelligence is going to affect our jobs as social workers. I'll put a disclaimer straightforward. I'm not claiming to be a guru in this field, or I'm not claiming to know everything in this field, but these are just my views. I'm just offering my own views and my own opinions and my own way of thinking around how these things might happen going forward. As you may know, there is currently in the news an article where Microsoft paid more than 10 billion for an app called ChatGPT, which is still in the developmental stage. So this chat is something that people or those who are in the know-how have been trying, it works more along the lines of maybe Wikipedia or whatever it is, or whatever you want to call it. But it's sort of like an app where if you ask any question, it will give you the answers to what you're asking. So it scans through the internet, scans through all the servers in the internet, and gives you an answer as to the question that you'll be asking. So this is part of the artificial intelligence revolution which is happening in the world. And as you know, many jobs have now been replaced by artificial intelligence. So I'm sure my viewer was coming from that angle, is to be asking that question, is to say, will my job be affected by the revolution of artificial intelligence? So the question I'll be talking to you today is, will my social work job be taken over by an artificial intelligence robot? Put your comments in the comment section below of what you think is going to be happening, or whether you think as social work as a career is going to be affected, or to what extent is it going to be affected by the advent of artificial intelligence. However, my own viewpoint, first and foremost, which I'm going to put across, is it is unlikely that artificial intelligence or an artificial intelligence robot is going to replace our job as social workers per se, or replace the whole job of being called a social worker. Why do I say so? I know we are moving towards the era of artificial intelligence. That is correct, and we can't hide away from it, or we can't deny it. It's happening. There are few jobs, or there are plenty of jobs, people that have been affected by artificial intelligence. For example, if you I've noted in Southern Africa, it's the only countries in the world, possibly, or maybe in South America as well, where you still have pump fuel attendants. But in countries where in Europe or in America and some other countries, you no longer have fuel attendants because people are doing it themselves. Some supermarkets as well, they've got self-checkouts, which wasn't there 10, 15 years ago. So with all those things happening, and there are other jobs which have officially been taken over by artificial intelligence. As you may know as well, Tesla is now, is pioneering this self-driving trucks, self-driving cars. So we are going towards an era where certain jobs might be affected by artificial intelligence. So the question is, will my social work job be taken over by an IA robot or by artificial intelligence? And like I said earlier on, my answer is it is unlikely. I don't think it's going to happen like that. Why? Because social work, as you know, it's a caring profession. It involves a lot of human interaction and emotional intelligence on the part of the worker who is doing the job. Though it involves a lot of emotional intelligence, I don't think an artificial intelligence robot will be able to do that job. Right, if you look at the type of work that we do, let's talk of a child and family assessment. There is no way an artificial intelligence robot will be able to come up with a child and family assessment unless somebody feeds information into it, unless somebody goes out there, makes observations, or unless somebody has those conversations with other professionals to gather that information and feed it into a machine for you to come up with an assessment. So it is unlikely that social work is going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. Those are my views. Like I said earlier on, these are my own views. So like I said, reason number one is, social work involves a lot of human interaction, one-on-one interaction. If you are making an assessment, or if you are making a child and family assessment, it could be a parenting assessment, it could be a together and apart assessment, it could be a CPR, assessment, or it could be an adoption assessment, it could be a connected persons viability assessment. All those kind of assessments, we are talking of human interaction, one-to-one. You are sitting with this person, asking questions, observing, asking questions, observing, and making your own conclusions, analyzing that information and all that. So it involves a lot of human interaction to an extent that I don't think a robot will be able to replace a social worker, or a robot will be able to replace a person called a social worker. So because it takes a lot of human interaction and it needs a lot of emotional intelligence, there are sometimes when you're given answers, you need to think quick. I mentioned in one of my videos that in our line of work, you work under pressure and you need to think quick, you need to think fast about what needs to be happening first, next, and so forth, of which I don't think artificial intelligence robot will be able to replicate those kind of scenarios. Because as you know, a robot can only do what is fed into it, or can only do things, or the setup which has been set for it to be functioning like. So it's not possible for an AI robot to replace a social worker. With that said, I don't think it will be possible for us to live in an era where we'll be saying we don't need social workers anymore. Work can be done by robots. That's just not going to happen. Those are my views. If you think otherwise, put your comments in the section. Put your comments in the comment section below, and we can have a conversation. Even if it means we can have a Zoom or a Teams meeting, just to to explore and talk about it. Put your comments in the comment section below. However, I think there is a lot that social work can benefit from artificial intelligence. With that having been said, there's a lot that social work as a profession can benefit from artificial intelligence. So my thinking would be, it's possible that artificial intelligence technology can support social workers in doing some of the mundane tasks that we do on a daily basis. Let's talk about those few referrals and all those kind of things. If AI is able to scan through the system, gather all the information that is needed, complete all those sections, and send in a referral, that will be perfect. I'm sure social workers out there will really be joyous when that time comes, or when that opportunities are availed for those kind of things to be done. As you know, we have got systems that we use in our work. It is possible that with the advent of, or with the way AI is moving now, some of those systems might encapsulate elements of artificial intelligence in them, in terms of trying to tabulate information and all those kind of things. We know it's happening already, but I'm sure with the coming of AI and the way we are moving now, it will be happening possibly at a faster rate, or it will be refining data much better than what we are seeing now. Because as you know, some of the systems that we are using, sometimes data comes, it only gives you what you feed into it. But I think with the advent of AI, it is possible that tasks like data analysis, case management, some case management cases in terms of tabulating to see, predicting what might happen and so forth, it's possible that AI might support social workers in doing some of those mundane tasks. Yeah, so I do believe that artificial intelligence is gonna likely affect the way we practice to an extent. Yes, it might affect, but it will never replace the need for a human social worker to be doing this job that we are doing. So I have faith in the fact that our profession is not gonna be one of those that might be affected that much as compared to other profession. I'm not gonna go into that, but in my mind, I already have got some professions which I think might be affected by the advent of AI. As you know, there's an article which I read yesterday, or no, not day before yesterday, which spoke about how ChatGPT managed to write a law exam and passed with flying colors the whole of law exam. So I'm not saying law is going to be affected, but I'm just giving an example out there of how artificial intelligence is going to affect even things like education. Are we going to come to an era where sending kids to school may not necessarily be necessary? I don't know about that. It's things that we may need to possibly find out with time. So I'm saying AI has got the potential to benefit social workers in a number of ways. And some of the examples that I can think of is there are some predictive analytics that needs to be done in our line of work. As you know, people generate data almost or maybe every week in terms of monitoring what's happening. So I think AI might to an extent be very useful or be helpful in generating those predictive analytics of data. So we are saying artificial intelligence powered tools may come into use in social work, possibly to analyze the data that we feed into our systems, and possibly to an extent from a social work case management perspective, it will also help to identify patterns that may indicate a high risk of negative outcomes for the children and families that we're working with, or for the adults that we are working with, if you're working with adults, or for any other group of people that you're working with, for that matter. So I think it can also help you, in social workers in terms of prioritizing tasks or cases, or intervene more effectively if it's able to predict what might happen if this situation remains like that. We know at the moment sometimes we are doing it ourselves in terms of when a case has been open to children's services for so long, very well that there's need either to escalate, or when that it's a repeat case coming back, maybe they've been on plans for some time and so forth, there is a possibility that we are able to predict those things, or we are able to think what might happen. But I think with the advent of artificial intelligence, that might be enhanced to an extent. I think it's also possible for the profession to benefit from artificial intelligence through possibly automating some of the administrative tasks. Like I mentioned earlier on about doing referrals, I'm sure social workers will be glad if it would come to an extent where an era where if it is a referral, just press a button, please refer Patrick to so and so service, and then it will sift through information that is needed in that form, put it in the correct boxes and send. We can't wait for that era to come. Is it gonna come? I believe it's gonna come. I think artificial intelligence can automate some of the repetitive and time-consuming tasks that we do as social workers. For example, data entry. For example, the visits that we are doing. Sometimes at the moment we are doing visits and then come back to the office and start typing. It will come to a point where possibly when you are done with your visit, you just interpret on a phone or in a Chromebook, and it will be typing everything and doing everything. Already at the moment we are having meetings on Teams, for example. It will record the video and transcribe as well. It will be easy to just take that information, edit, and put it on the system. So I think with some of those repetitive and mundane tasks, AI will actually support social workers and free our time to focus on assessments, or to focus on the core pieces of work that we need to be doing with the children and families that we are allocated to. And it will also free us time, free our time to focus on more complex cases and give them attention, and possibly focus on those human-centered tasks like assessments, as I mentioned earlier on. And I think the third point is, I think artificial intelligence is also going to help us in terms of improving access to information. For example, it can help you as a social worker to quickly find and access relevant information on the line, such as resources, that clients can use, research or best practices. At the moment, it's about us going to the, clicking on the laptop, trying to find information. But sometimes, maybe if it's embedded in the system that we use, when you are doing your assessment already, you'll be having some predictive information being fed into your assessment. Maybe we will come to that era. I don't know. But I think if we have improved AI tools, it is possible. Like, for example, ChatGPT, for those of you who are tech savvy, who have heard about it, if you use it, if you type in a topic, it will give you an answer, and you'll be amazed at the way it is, getting all this information from the internet and giving it to you as a package, which is possibly the reason why, it was able to write a law exam and pass with flying colors, more than 90% in all the exams that they actually fed into ChatGPT. So I also think, possibly point number 4, I think artificial intelligence might enhance our decision making. I mentioned earlier on about the possibility of AI predicting what might happen, or so. I think if that is possible, it will come to an era where artificial intelligence will help us, or will aid us in making decisions around the children and families that we are working with. How can that happen? I think it can help social workers make more informed and efficient decisions by providing them with insights or recommendations based on the large amounts of data that it will be storing. So this is a possibility. And I think artificial intelligence will also be useful in identifying at-risk populations, and also recommend possibly what needs to be done in that kind of a scenario. So I think it will help us as social workers in identifying, populations that might be at risk of poor outcomes, especially, for example, looked after children. So it is possible that, when they sift through data of our looked after children with what has been happening, it is possible for it to identify, at-risk populations and so forth, and aid in our decision making. And I think it will also help to an extent in terms of the target interventions that we'll put in place. It will aid us in putting the right support at the right time. Yeah, so I think, as I said earlier on, it's important to bear in mind that, we are moving towards an era where, whether we like it or not, things are just going to be happening. So artificial intelligence is here to stay. I don't think it's going to change. It's changing things already. It's changing the way, we drive our cars. It's changing the way we are shopping. It's changing our habits in terms of the things that we browse on TV. It's changing our habits in terms of the things that we browse on the internet. It's all to do with artificial intelligence. But I think we are moving towards an era where things may change and some jobs might be affected. So I think, to answer your question, my friend, I'm not going to mention your name, the one who asked whether social work as a profession is going to be affected by artificial intelligence. To an extent, yes, because I think it might be affected in a positive way, with the few reasons which I've mentioned earlier on. However, to answer the question, will my social work job be taken over by an AI robot? It's highly unlikely. Those are my views. Thank you so much, the viewers. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and also hit that notification bell, so that when I post any video, you'll be the first person to know, and you'll be able to watch my content. Thank you so much. Peace out. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.